The following is a presentation sponsored by the Inkwell Academy.
Welcome to the Inkwell Academy Author Book Club, where authors from around the world share their publishing journeys and highlight the best books in North America. Join us for exclusive insights into diverse literary voices and captivating storytelling. Sit back, relax, and immerse yourself in the magic of storytelling with Inkwell Academy Author Book Club. Let the adventure begin.
We are so excited to be here today with Dr. Stephanie West. She is the author of Seeking My Legacy. Dr. West, tell us about this book.
All right, this book is real personal to me. I started writing it about 2-3 years ago. It's all about the different trials and challenges I've had in my life, from being a mother of 4 children, grandmother of 9, a wife to a soulmate, and struggles with marriage, over 37 years. But it came down to just the lessons I've learned and what I was leaving behind to my family. When I first, this idea of coming up with a legacy, and I know you were going to ask me about the inspiration, but the inspiration behind this book kind of goes into why I wrote it and what it's about. But my dad died in 2020. I had lost my father-in-law about 7 years before that. And then about 3 months later, I lost a great man, a brother-in-law that we just adored and loved. And he had all these children, and it was like, what am I leaving my children? When I was at the funerals, I have 8 brothers and sisters, so I've come from a family of 9. And so at my dad's funeral, we all were able to speak and tell us our favorite memories about my dad. And I started to think, what am I leaving behind for my kids? And so I started to think about that. And I took all my experiences as a mother and raising children and the struggles of raising children in a Christian home and trying to give those good Christian values into their lives to hold on to. I was also, like I said, married to my very best friend for 37 years now. And there was things that we went through as a married couple and how we stuck together for all these years and the importance of it. And then also some of the challenge I had as being an educator. Some of the trials I had there. And then some really hard, horrible challenges with depression and anxiety. And then as I wrote, it's like, oh, this could help so many people, so many women, that are faced with these things, especially the depression and anxiety. It's very personal. It's a very personal memoir per se, but I really hope that it'll help people over time overcome what they're going through also. Other women's struggles through raising children and depression and anxiety and living in this chaotic world that we try to live in and hold on to our Christian beliefs. I think it can be really powerful for other women.
What a great look at Seeking My Legacy by author Dr. Stephanie West. Purchase your copy by scanning the QR code.
We are so excited to be joined today by author Virginia Davis. She is the author of the newly released book, The Adventures of Macadoodle. So Virginia, tell us about this book.
Well, this is a story about my little dachshund, Mac. His nickname is Macadoodle, and it's about him and his little animal friends in the neighborhood, and they're exploring and their little games and where they live and everything that they do. And then I had a neighbor who played the piano. So they went to his kitchen window and asked him to play a song, and he did. And they were, rocking in time with the music. And then they came back to Macadoodle's house and ended their playing for the day.
So what was the main inspiration, for this book?
The inspiration was one day Mac woke up in real life and could not walk. So it was about him and his treatment and his recovery. I don't mean to cry.
That's
but
okay.
it was about his convalescence and his treatment and his recovery, and that's what inspired me to write the book.
I love that. And what a great tribute to Mac. So this book sounds amazing. Is there anything else that you would love to share with our audience about you, about the book, about the message, about Mac? I mean, if there is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience, they'd love to hear that.
Well, I've always wanted to write, and I finally did. And I've started a second book about macadoodle. Mac is now 13 years old, and he's a great guy. He loves to sleep on the bed. We call it, is it time to go night night? And he'll go up the ramp and he'll go night night, and he doesn't want to get down. He'll growl at me sometimes if I try to get him up. But he's a good dog. He's a good guard dog. He loves to bark at strangers, but you pet him and he's your best friend.
I love that. He sounds like a character that could can bring about many more books as well. So,
Oh, yes, yes.
what a great dog, and I love dogs. So, what an amazing special dog. So, thank you so much for sharing that with us today, and we look forward to checking back in with you soon and see how your book journey is going.
Okay, well, thank you very much.
Children of all ages will love The Adventures of Macadoodle from author Virginia Davis. Scan the QR code to learn more.
We are so excited and honored to be joined today by author Jan Bennett. She is the author of the newly released book, The Green and the Blue, Inspiration and Imagination. And so Jan, tell us about this book.
Okay, The Green and the Blue, Inspiration and Imagination is written in free verse poetry, and it's an invitation to experience the simple pleasures of nature and the tranquility it brings to those who embrace it. Through nature's beauty and serene places, the reader is welcomed into God's creations. It also presents an awareness of the fragility of nature with a connection to our own existence. By using moments of imagination, a chance to think outside the obvious and contemplate a world inside our world is encouraged. Included in this book are favorite poems that explore seasons, storms, night skies, dreams, phobias, time standing still, and much more. The Green and the Blue is for readers of all ages and is presented in a beautiful hardback book, and it's intended as a keepsake. The cover art was created by my granddaughter, Kaylee. The purchase of this book goes to Samaritan's Purse International Relief. They are missionaries that work tirelessly to rescue people all over the world. They set up hospitals, they bring doctors and ambulances, they rebuild homes and families, and they deliver donated shoeboxes filled with gifts and needs to the children. And with hope and love, they bring with them the message of the good news, which is Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior. The inspiration for this book started when I moved to a studio apartment in the city. It was quite small, but it had a balcony facing the backyard area fenced in by plants and trees. It was a nursery for birds and protected from most predators. Each year, the nests were built and the babies were born, and I began writing. And one day, when I was watching people rushing from place to place, I saw very few took the time to notice anything around them, allowing the day to slip away without stopping long enough to see the amazing sky and the trees dressed in brilliant autumn colors. I felt led to share with readers the places I'd captured in verse. I'm hoping through the simple pleasures I've described in this book, it may inspire a realization of what is given to us every day.
Purchase your copy of The Green and the Blue from author Jan Bennett by scanning the QR code.
So you've written a book. Congratulations, you're a writer. The next step is to find a publisher that will want to publish your book. So whether you're writing a children's book, a spiritual book, or perhaps suspense or horror genre, even sci-fi! Discover Publishers connects authors to publishers. And the best part, our referral services are free.
Find the right publisher. Call 888-385-1985 or scan the QR code for your free writer's guide.
Hey everybody, I have the absolute honor to talk to Kathy Branning today about her book. Her book is called "'Tis So Sweet, Tales of an Innkeeper." How are you today, Kathy?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing good, can't complain. Would you tell us about your book?
Absolutely. So I have two here. So "'Tis So Sweet" is actually the first one of a trilogy. It's an inside job, just came out September 30th, and it's the second book. And the third book should be coming out this Christmas. But these books follow the main character, Kate Brown. She's an innkeeper. Got a little glare there, but you can see. And this is her dream, is to own and operate an inn. And she's a wife and a mother. She processes very real feelings with family issues and grief and joy and what it means to be a small business owner and growing in that. So it's like very real feelings, but in like this really beautiful fictional world that I've created.
What inspired you to write this book? Well, honestly, all your books.
Yeah. So it actually was born in the season of grief for me. I was in counseling for my late father's passing. We had a very like rough relationship. And so my counselor actually suggested, because I'm a creative, to use creativity to process my grief and, kind of like write a day in the life. Like, what does your dream life look like if you had no limitations in finances, no limitations in relationships, XYZ. And I just started writing, and it actually was so therapeutic and made me feel so good. And then as a creative, everything that I've created my whole life, I've been very critical of, as we are our worst critics, right? And when I finished writing the first chapter, I thought, this is actually kind of good, which is very unusual for me to say. So I knew that this is something, and I kind of want to run with it. So I went to a writing workshop. I took tedious notes, like was the best student about how to go about becoming a writer. And I got my feet wet and just started submitting my manuscript and got published. I want people to read my books and find hope, find answers for their own issues, feel like they've been seen, that they can relate to these characters because they too are grieving, or they too have family stuff, or they too have a friendship, or businesses or XYZ. I just really want people to find hope when they read my book.
What a great look at "'Tis So Sweet, Tales of an Innkeeper." Learn more by scanning the QR code today.
We are honored to be here today with author Naomi Schuster. She is the author of the book, The Cantaloupe Moon. And Naomi, thank you for joining us today, and tell us about this book.
Thank you so much for hosting me. I'm so honored to be here as well. So the story, The Cantaloupe Moon, is a story about viewing the world through the eyes of imagination. In this story, a little girl sees the moon every night. She notices that as the moon changes, it reminds her of different fruits. For example, the moon looks like a cantaloupe when it's full, and then at the crescent moon, it looks like a banana. She continues to make these observations throughout the story.
I love that. That sounds like a fun book for any kid of any age. And so you talked about it a little bit, but what would you say is the main inspiration behind this book?
My daughter Raylan is definitely the inspiration behind this book. She told the story and I simply put it on paper. She loves the moon, and when she was 3 years old, she did notice that the moon resembled different fruits as it moved through the phases. She would look forward to this routine every night at bedtime.
Does she love this book?
She does love this book. She's very proud of this book. It timed out well. By the time the wonderful publishing company that I worked with made this book into a real thing, I could come into her preschool classroom and read this book to all her friends. It was a really fun thing for Raylan to see her actual name in the dedication about every page of the book, every part of the book.
That's amazing. So I love that this has such a special, it means something special for you and your daughter. I love that. And so is there anything else you'd like to share with us about you, about the book, about, even like a message behind the book? Is there anything else you'd like to share with our audience today?
Yes, I'll go ahead and let people know that there is a fun game hidden in illustrations of this story. The moon in the sky matches the little girl's pajamas on every page. For example, when the moon is a cantaloupe, the girls' pajamas have cantaloupes on them. When I read this story to an audience of those 3 to 5-year-olds, those preschoolers like I mentioned, the children really enjoy noticing this on their own. It becomes an interactive attention getter.
So it's a learning book and a fun story as well for kids. So we recommend everyone pick up this book online where books are sold. It's sold on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Reader House, and we recommend everyone enjoy this special book. And what an amazing legacy you're leaving behind, that can pass to your daughter and to her children. And I think that's incredible. So thank you for sharing that with us today. And we look forward to catching up with you soon and seeing how things are going.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the time greatly.
That was a look at The Cantaloupe Moon from author Naomi Schuster. Purchase today by scanning the QR code.
We are so excited to be joined today by author Rebecca Gillen. She is the author of the adorable book, A Mole in the White House. So Rebecca, tell us about this book.
Well, I would recommend the book for elementary children, and the younger children would enjoy looking at the book because on every page that has a picture, the mole is kind of hidden. Now, the main character of the story, of course, is the mole, and he's been causing all sorts of problems at the White House. And the White House is getting ready to host this really big event, this very important family. But the mole is the difficulty, and there's protesters going on, and it's so important because world peace is involved. Now, another of my main characters would be the head gardener at the White House, and he's given the task of catching the mole, which he isn't able to do at the very beginning. Now, when he decides to get the mole, and he actually catches him, he says, I'm going to send him to my enemy in another country. And well, it sort of backfires because another mole ends up coming to the White House. Now, at the end of the book, we learn that a shared problem can have a shared solution.
I love this. And the mole is adorable on the cover of your book. And I love that it has meaning too. So what was the inspiration behind this book?
Oh, the things. We wrote about the mole story because we've had moles in our yard forever. 40 years. They seem to think that our grubs are more delicious than the neighbor's grubs. And so it was, when I first wrote the story, I was kind of stuck because I didn't know what to do. But I happened to catch a newscast where the president was speaking outside in the rose garden. And in the background, you could see this creature scurrying around. And the reporters are going, now, what is that? Is it a mouse? Is it a rat? Is it a vole? So I did some research and I found out, the White House has had a lot of critters in 230 plus years. This gave me, I knew the story now was going to take place in the White House. And of course, the title, oh, a mole in the White House. And then I thought it was kind of, maybe people would think the story was about a spy because a mole can be a spy, which it isn't.
That mole is so cute. Learn more about A Mole in the White House from author Rebecca Guillen by scanning the QR code.
It is my privilege today to be here with author Susan Serena Marie. She is the author of the adorable children's book, These Aren't Oranges. And so, Susan, tell us about this book.
Okay, These Aren't Oranges is a children's book about dealing with disappointment. Life is absolutely brimming over with setbacks and discouraging outcomes. But if we train ourselves to look for God's blessings in amongst the hardships, then life becomes much easier and more enjoyable. In this book specifically, I use my son, my single widowed son, and my grandson as the main characters. Then these characters then have to deal with the hardship of having a beloved orange tree unexpectedly produce apples. Hence the title, These Aren't Oranges. So
I love that title, and I love the message that, life does bring disappointment. It just does, right? What was the main inspiration for you writing this book?
So during the season of COVID's quarantine, I went to an outside church service that had this book's message as the topic of the sermon. And like God often does, he used this message to really touch my heart. And the more I thought about it, though, the more I wish that I had learned to apply this outlook as a child. At the same time, I was toying with the idea of using my family members as the characters for a new book. And that is when I suddenly became filled with excitement about sharing this message from God, as well as had the idea of just how to do it.
I love that. Love it. And it's such a great message for children, but it's even a message for an adult. So that's amazing. And so is there anything else you'd like to share with us about you, about the book, about the message behind the book? Anything else you'd like to share with our audience today?
Well, since childhood, I have had a calling to ministry. However, I didn't grow up with religion, so I never knew how to make this a reality. I also always had a love of writing, but it wasn't until 2015 that I embraced Jesus and was baptized. From that day forward, though, I have made it my mission to share God's goodness with others, and I decided to do this by writing children's books and women's Bible study books. These Aren't Oranges was my 10th published book, and it fills me with joy that I am being used by God in such a fun way.
Learn more about These Aren't Oranges by author Susan Serena Marie by scanning the QR code.
We are so excited to be joined today by Mary Joyce McNeil Flanoy. She is the author of the newly released book, Family, How We Made It Over. And Mary, tell us about this book.
Okay, my book, Family, How We Made It Over, is a true story about my large, immediate family, which consisted of my two parents and their 7 children, and the struggles we encountered growing up and living in the South during a period of segregation, Jim Crow laws, racism, and hard economic times. The story shares how we survived, accomplished our goals, and just, got our desires met by having strong and unwavering faith in God, and by establishing strong bonds of love, support, and cooperation with our immediate and extended families and close friends. We worked together sort of like a team. We would just do, it was, reciprocity involved. If this family needed help, we were over in this corner. If the other family needed help, we were over in this corner. And it was just a very close relationship. And nobody was counting to see who did more or who did less. You did what you could afford to do. We still rally around and help anybody who's struggling, trying to accomplish a goal. I have a niece now who is in school, and we are all rallying around to help her finish and get her through. And we are telling our children the story so that they will know what's expected of them, that we help one another. Still do that in our families today. We help our children see that we help one another and encourage them to help others as they, become older, because our motto is love for God first, love for self, and love for others. And it is the key, I believe, to a happy life.
Absolutely. And we encourage everyone to pick up this book. It's online anywhere books are sold. It's on Amazon, Reader House, Barnes and Noble. Read about this incredible family and this legacy that continues to be an incredible family. Every family should learn from this. And thank you so much for joining us today and sharing this story with us.
Scan the QR code to learn more about Family, How We Made It Over, by author Mary Joyce McNeil Flournoy.
So you've written a book. Congratulations, you're a writer. The next step is to find a publisher that will want to publish your book. Discover Publishers review genre, type, length of book, along with other factors to find the right publisher for you. So whether you're writing a children's book, a religious, or spiritual themed book, perhaps you're into the suspense, mystery, or horror genre, even sci-fi! Whatever type of book you've written, Discover Publishers will help you find the right publisher to edit, illustrate, design, print, sell, distribute, and promote your book. We match your needs with our list of publishers and agents to find the right fit for you. And the best part, our services are free. Every day we connect writers to interested publishers. We make publishers come to your door so you can get your book on bookshelves everywhere.
Find the right publisher. Call 888-385-1985. That's 888-385-1985. 888-385-1985. Or scan the QR code for your free writer's guide.
Thank you for joining the Inkwell Academy Author Book Club today. We can't wait to see you next time as we continue our journey through the exciting world of literature.
The proceeding was a presentation sponsored by the Inkwell Academy.